We are live now, Mayor Aker.
Hi, everybody, and Happy New Year to my colleagues on council, as well as our staff here at the City of Mount Pearl. Welcome to January 10th, 2023, a day that you will remember in a few weeks' time as the start of the first snowstorm of 2023. So welcome, everybody, and I'm glad to see everybody back after the Christmas and New Year's break. I'd like to call upon members of council to look at the agenda, and if there's no changes required, I'll happily take a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Councillor Fry and seconded by Councillor Rice. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion is carried. Thank you so much. The agenda will start with the land acknowledgement. And I'm just breezing through now we begin today's public council meeting by respectfully acknowledging the province of Newfoundland and Labrador as the ancestral homelands of many diverse populations of Indigenous peoples, including the Beothuk, who have contributed to 9,000 years of history on the island of Newfoundland. Today, this province is home to diverse populations of Indigenous and other people. We acknowledge, with respect, the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit. We honor this beautiful land, and together, as we strive for collective healing and true reconciliation. All right, council, moving right along. The next item on the agenda, I believe, is the minutes from December 13th, 2022. And we're looking for errors or omissions first, please. No, I'm not always watching the Zoom screen, folks. So if I don't see your yellow hand up, just shout out to at the same time as I'm over on the agenda for the moment. All right, I'll call for a motion, please, to adopt the minutes from December 13th on motion of Deputy Mayor Kiley, seconded by Councillor Locke. All in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? And that motion is carried as well. Business arising, council, please quote the item number in the action report or the minutes if you have a query. I'm not going to say it. I'm so used to, sorry folks, I'm so used to the Zoom app having the meeting that I have to retrieve the browser to find it. Hearing nothing from the business arising, I'd like to move on to the next section, which is coming up here now. And we're going to talk committee reports, and the lead committee report tonight will be Planning, Engineering and Development. Councillor Rice, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just going to minimize my screen here now and bring everything up here.
Director Dollamont, the snow has stopped, I see. The city's in the midst of being cleaned up.
Yes, it is, yeah. Looking at the forecast, I suppose it continue on later this evening till about midnight-ish, but nothing significant.
All right, good stuff. So far, so good for the first storm of the year. Any challenges presented today?
Not so far, but you know, the usual, some breakups and some breakdowns, but generally it's been a relatively normal day.
Thank you, Your Worship, for buying me some time there. So we'll have to number one. So number one on our PED committee tonight is the new pedestrian underpass remediation project. So recommendation to transfer to MYCW, request for approval to proceed. This is contractor change order number 3. Background, this one is quality increases have been identified for the pedestrian underpass and will be required to complete this project. So recommendation from Planning, Engineering and Development Committee recommends the following. Change order number 3 be issued payable to contractor Eric Taylor Limited to adjust the quantities for the total change order of $51,000, HST included. Transferring $50,000 from the St. David's Avenue MYCW funding, 17-MYCW-20-00140 to the pedestrian underpass project, 17-MYCW-20 17-00137, project funding to cover the projected deficit for that project, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Rice and seconded by Councillor Fry, noting, folks, that this is really two motions, but we'll call for a vote on both motions if that's the pleasure of council. Any questions, concerns, or comments?
Question, Mayor, if I could.
Yes, please.
I notice just a question on the project itself, probably for Director Antle. I noticed that the reduced lanes are no longer reduced. We're back to 2 lanes. But that's not to suggest that the project is fully completed inside. Is there still work ongoing, Director, despite the fact that lanes are opened?
Councillor Locke, yes, there is some work to be completed in the spring, mostly asphalt and landscaping work, but the structural work associated with the remediation project, the structural concrete work, is completed. And hence the safety concerns that were identified when we did our inspection on this underpass a couple of years ago have been addressed.
Thank you. Is the underpass now open to pedestrians? I haven't been there myself recently, so is it now functional and open?
It is. The signs and the barricades have been removed. I haven't been in it myself, but I understand the signs have been removed and it's available for use.
Great. Thank you, Director. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, just going to find the video again, folks. Any further questions before I call the motions at once? Okay, all in favor? Sorry, Deputy Mayor Kiley? You're good. Okay, yeah, all in favor, thank you. And those opposed? Carried. Back to you, Councillor.
Thank you, Worship. Number 2, investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, ICEP, ICIP. So just some information on this one. Water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt, curb, and sidewalk replacement for Spruce, Birch, and Roosevelt Avenues, Carroll Drive, and water main lining, Billard Avenue. And the project number on this one is 17-GI-23-00084. Funding project acceptance. So the background on this one, in November of 2022, the city approved an application for funding under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, ICEP. As per below, just going to scroll down here now. Back on November, at our meeting on November the 3rd, 2022, Council passed the following motion as it relates to the ICEP 2019 multi-street projects, which was Spruce, Birch and Roosevelt Avenue, Carroll Drive and Billard Avenue, Farrell Drive running from Holden Street to Evans Place and Barber Drive. So the motion 22-11-594. The motion was brought forward by Councillor Mark Rice and seconded by Councillor Isabel Fry. Be it resolved that approval be given to proceed with the following to ensure adequate funding is in place for the city's high priority projects. So we cancelled, number 1, we cancelled ICEP project 17-GI-21-00044. That was a water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt, curb, and sidewalk replacement for Farrell Drive from Holden Street to Evans Place. And the total project funding for that one that was cancelled was $5,100,000, HST included. We reapplied for that project, a reapplication of under ICEP, the water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt, curb, and sidewalk replacement from Farrell Drive from Holden Street to Evans. The total amount being applied for will be $6,935,441, HST included. That's part 1. The second part of this one will be number 3. We cancel ICEP project 17-GI-21-00043. That was the water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt, curb, and sidewalk replacement, Spruce Avenue, Spruce, Birch, Roosevelt Avenues, and Carroll Drive, and the water main lining on Billard Avenue. The total project funding that was cancelled for this one would be $5,050,000, HST included. Under the ICEP, we reapplied for that one as well. Water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt, curb, and sidewalk replacement, Spruce, Birch, and Roosevelt Avenue, and Carroll Drive, and water main lining on Billard Avenue. The total amount being applied for on the new reapplication is $6,700,307, HST included. And number 5, we cancel ICEP project 17-GI-23-00014. water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt, curb, and sidewalk replacement, Barber Drive area. The total project funding cancel will be 4 million, HST included. The funding is proposed to be reallocated to the above reapplications, and the unallocated balance of funding is to be removed, is to be moved to project 17-GI-22-00013, full replacement of water, sanitary, and storm sewer, asphalt, curb, and sidewalk, Jackman Drive area. On December the 22nd, the city received notification of project approval through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, ICEP. The approved funding totals $6,700,307, and a cost shared at 40% for federal government, 30% for provincial, and 30% for the city. So recommendation for Planning, Engineering, Development Committee recommends acceptance of the project funding, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Rice, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Fry. This amounts to acceptance following up a motion. I might add that we received approval 30 days after we originally approved the reapplication. So well described. Any questions, Council?
I do, Your Worship. Nicole here.
Please. Yeah. Hi.
Hi. So this is it's more me of a comment because I know as being through some of the committee meetings and looking through the minutes, there's a significant amount of what we see here of projects, what looks to be kind of some bumps around, if you will, and in relation to the budget. And I think it might be just for the value of our residents of recognizing, well, why is there so much shifting? We're canceling and then going back to a project, canceling to go back to a project. Just how it relates to what, you know, the ongoing challenge that we're meeting with it comes to inflation costs, and as well as taking advantage of the federal funds and our partnerships that we are developing through one of our biggest proprietors, which would be the ICEP project. I'm just wondering if we could comment a little bit about that, of what the strategy here is. And for me, it's an example of the work that we're going to do as a municipality, as many are facing and challenges are facing with inflation costs, and what that means for our work around asset management. So I'm hoping we could just have a little conversation about that here.
Keeping in mind, I'm going to turn to you, Director Rantle. We have had this conversation on November 22nd. This is just acceptance of the approval. I think that's all you're trying to get here, Director Rantle. But you're right, Deputy Mayor, it's more an inflationary issue. But unlike some other programs, ICEP requires a further one level of approval, which is just at the end of the commitment process. So we now have an approved commitment. Director Rantle, to you.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, the Deputy Mayor, I think, paraphrased it quite well. This is to do with inflationary pressures that we experienced, and many experienced across our country and certainly globally. When we noticed this, we did close these projects through an RFP process. And from that, we gauged that we had significant higher than we estimated. Speaking to our funding partners, the federal and provincial government, we could, through several inquiries, make a reapplication. And that's what we effectively did here. We reapplied fairly quickly to turn this around. We were in the midst of an RFP process, turned it around with the application, approved on December the 22nd, and we're hereby seeking council's approval to accept this funding. And ultimately, we'll be moving towards a contract award fairly quickly to advance this work and deal with the projects and the underground infrastructure we have that are, to the Deputy Mayor's point, in our asset management plan, they're beyond service life. So we're anxious to proceed, and we're seeking council approval.
All good? Or anybody else? Any comments? Deputy Mayor, you're good? Sorry.
I am. Thank you very much. And I just want to thank the team around this for the turnaround, and certainly meeting what can be sometimes a challenge when it comes to the funding constraints and some of the unknowns of inflation. So thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You're welcome, Deputy Mayor. And I didn't get into I think you're aware through committee meetings, there's a significant amount of work that goes into these reapplications. These projects have sometimes close on 100 pages of an application. That's part of the process that goes with these kinds of programs. But they're significant programs and significant dollars, let's say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of
Very
what we're
much
doing tonight. A lot of what we're doing tonight is, I don't know, in some vernacular might be described as the part of the red tape, right? Yeah, it's just every step along the way. And what's important is that we deal with the inflationary impact. And that was a major theme, Deputy Mayor, in the budget when it came down, especially certainly in the area of operating cost, as is impacted by CPI and the like. But the main thing we saw is these 20, 30, 40% increases, not only in Mount Pearl, but also across the province and across the country. So as a result, these reapplications and now the acceptance of them, which is at our table today, means that we can get on with, I think, some pretty major work to happen here in the city of Mount Pearl based on everything that we're about to approve here today. So I'll call for I'll call for a vote. All in favor? And those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Back to you, Councillor Rice.
You're on mute there, Councillor Rice.
Yeah.
I am unmuted. Here we go again.
All in favor? No, I'm only kidding.
Okay, so number 3, this one is our Investing in Canada's Infrastructure Program as well, ISEP. Water, sanitary storm sewer, asphalt curb and sidewalk replacement for Farrell Drive, upgrading between Holden Street and Evans Place. This project number is 17-GI-23-00083, and the project funding acceptance. So getting back to the background, this one, well, I just read the resolution at our meeting on November the 1st. That was moved by Councillor Mark Rice, and second by Councillor Fry. So the cancellation of project GL 17-GI-210044, that one was for the 5,100,000. That one was cancelled, and the reapplication one for the water, storm sewers, asphalt curb and sidewalk replacements for Farrell Drive and Holden Street area. That one will be totaled for $6,935,441, HST included. And to go back to the others, the same ones first, cancellation of ISEP project 17-GI-21-00043. That one was for total for $5,050,000, HST included. We reapplied for that one as well. And this one covered the water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt curb and sidewalk replacement for Spruce, Birch and Roosevelt Avenues and Carroll Drive and water main lining for Billard Avenue. And the total on this one was $6,700,307, HST included. And we canceled the water main, the project 17-GI-23-00014. Full replacement of water, sanitary, storm sewer, curb and sidewalk replacement for Jackman Drive area. So on December the 22nd, 2022, the city received notification of project approval through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. The approval funding totaling $6,935,441 and a cost shared of 40% for federal government, 30% for provincial and 30% for city. Was approved, and recommendation from Planning, Engineering and Development Committee recommends acceptance of the project funding. And I so move.
It is moved again by Councillor Rice and again seconded by Councillor Fry. Any questions, Council, before we have a vote? Don't see any hands up. I'm shifting back and forth. I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Perfect. Thank you. Motion carried. Back to more ISIP.
Thank you, Your Worship. The last one under our ISEP, the Investing in Canada's Infrastructure Program, our water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt curb and sidewalk replacement for Spruce, Birch and Roosevelt Avenues, Carroll Drive and water main lining under Billard Avenue. Project number 17-GI-23-00084, and the contract recommendations. So the background, this one, the design build request for proposals RFP water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt, curb and sidewalk replacement. Spruce Avenue, Roosevelt Avenue, Carroll Drive, and water main lining Billard Avenue, closed on May the 25th, 2022. The city received a total of 2 responses for their RFP. Scope of work, the goal of this project is to complete design and full replacement of all linear assets for Spruce Avenue, Crowd through the Commander section, Birch Avenue, Roosevelt Avenue, Donovan Street, Root Avenue section, the replacement of linear assets, which is asphalt, storm, sanitary, and sidewalk on Carroll Drive, and structural water lining of the existing water main on Billard Avenue in the city of Mount Pearl. Recommendations from Engineering and Planning, Planning Engineering Development Committee recommends awarding the contract for water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt, curb and sidewalk replacement, Spruce, Birch and Roosevelt Avenue, Carroll Drive and water main lining Billard Avenue. Project number G 17-GI-23-00084 to Dexter Construction Limited for a total bid amount of $6,382,500, HST included. And I so move.
It is again moved by Councillor Rice, seconded by Councillor Fry, and this is where we finally get to see the work commencing. Any questions, Council?
Your Worship,
Yes, Councillor Antle, sorry.
I'm trying to find my hand, but I can't find my hand. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to find the screen.
Yeah, I'm here going. When you get away from Zoom for a couple of weeks, it's hard to get back. Just a quick question. When will this work start?
I think Director Antle will pitch it your way. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Antle. These projects, the 2 that Councillor Rice referred to above, and this is an actual contract that is being recommended for award, is through a design build request for proposals. So the first part of this work is the actual completion of the design. So this starts, well, you may not see it on the street, which you won't. You may see some people doing some inspections. The actual design work is going to be undertaken. That will take a number of months. So this will be mostly done through the winter period, and then you'll see construction starting in this season coming in 2023. This is significant work. These projects will not be completed until 2024. So
okay.
This will be a 2-year construction process, mainly because the design period has to be undertaken first.
Yes, it seems to be a lot of work. That's what I was concerned about. A lot of work, a lot of tear up.
It is. It is.
Director, I'm sorry, Councillor Antle, you finished?
No, that's good. I mean, only the 2 year though. The roads won't be tore up that long. It'll be unpacked.
No.
It'll be done in different streets at different times, coordinated as we permit the work to undertake. But there is a schedule that the project has. It's I don't have it in front of me right now, but I believe it's somewhere in a period of 18 to 20 months of a schedule, so that effectively runs through 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, Director, this contract to award to Dexter does not cover both of those ISIP amendments up above, do they? Does it?
No, it doesn't, Your Worship. We actually had, through last fall, we brought it to council, the other RFP, the other project. So, but we had to pause because we had the funding challenge.
But we're in the same place right now. We have the acceptance. We're ready to award that one as well, are we?
We are ready to award now. If council approves this one, we'll be ready to award on both. These projects, again, for clarity, are requests for proposals. So we have effectively, the technical term is, we now begin our final negotiation with the preferred proponents to conclude. So this is reflective of their financial submission, which has some final elements that we have to conclude in our conversation, in our discussions with these contractors, if council approves.
I'll call the motion if there's no other questions. All in favor?
One more question, Your Worship.
Oh, yes, please.
Sorry, I still can't find my hand.
I see it.
I just found a raised hand one. Some of these work, like the water lining and water on Billard Avenue, that area, is that a priority over, say, any other area? Like we had some water issues down that area last year. So will that move faster, or is that going to be 2 years?
Some of that can be effectively completed in this year. Water main lining can, depending on the nature of the work, it can be done even sometimes in the winter. We wouldn't want to, but I mean, this is the kind of work we'll prioritize within the projects to complete certain aspects ahead of others. We also have other work that we brought to council's attention, as some of the Councillor Anthony may be referring to some of the sewer realignment that we're interested in doing at the bottom of pillars. So that'll be a more of a seasonal activity. But depending on the priorities that we assign to these internally, these will be completed sooner than other aspects of the work. But as you can tell, these are multi-streets. So we'll try to complete the work. Of course, asphalt work will be on in the season. Some of the work underground will be done, outside of the season of, summer season. So as we advance these projects, we'll have more detailed schedules brought to our Planning, Engineering and Development Committee, and also to the public, to advise people as to schedule and actual work is undertaken in the street itself.
Thank you.
All good. Anybody else? Okay, I'll call the motion. All in favor?
All right.
And contrary-minded? And thank you. That motion's carried as well. Carry on.
Thank you, Worship. So I will pass over to my colleague now, Councillor Fry.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Next on our agenda this evening is the building and occupancy permit listing for the period of December the 12th to the 30th. So our committee recommends that the building permits issued for this period, showing a total construction value of $950,000, be approved, and further that the occupancy permit listed be accepted as presented. And this is in your kit for your information. We still have some work happening in the city. There's a patio, a new single dwelling, exterior renovations, basement apartment, so on and so forth. But they're all here for your information. And if there are no questions, I will so move.
Moved by Councillor Fry and second by Councillor Rice for the occupancy permits as well as commercial and residential permits to December 31st. Any questions, council? I don't see any hands up, and I don't see anybody. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor?
All right.
And that motion, contrary-minded, motion carried. Thank you.
And finally, for us, Your Worship, we have the development permit listing for the same period, December the 12th to the 30th. So the Planning, Engineering and Development Committee provides the following development permits for the information of council. And there are three here: Chatterbox Daycare, Bright Minds Learning Center, Inc., and Pine Hill Construction Limited.
And it is moved by Councillor Fry. Thank you. And second by Councillor Rice. All in favor?
All right.
Those opposed? And that one's done as well. Thank you so much.
And that is it for our committee this evening.
Okay, we're going to move to Corporate Services and Public Works, and I believe Councillor Locke is going to lead.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I go, I got a comment on the background of Director Antle's screen there. I just took note of the lovely map of Mount Pearl. I think that's the one we had posted in City Hall a couple of months back. So
yeah.
Sorry, that's the geographer in me, Director Antle, but it is a great map indeed. Thank you, Mayor. I'll start out with the first three, and then I'll turn it over to Deputy Mayor Kiley. The first for us are the invoices for council approval, and you can see we have 19 there in total. The total value is $800,547.26. And just to comment on some of the ones that we see there, you can see Avalon Coal and Salt in the amount of $230,250.39. This, of course, is for salt delivery. And Mayor, you mentioned our first significant snowfall of 2023 hit us today, although albeit a little less than what was anticipated, I think. So this is stocked. Our salt delivery is required to be stocked, of course, to ensure that we maintain the high level of service that we're well known for here in the city. But this invoice, just a note there, is for 1,642 tons of salt. And just an FYI for council and our public, that in 2022, we used almost 8,000 tons of salt. So this is about, what would that be? 1/5 of what we're going to use. So it's 20%. So we do go through quite a lot of salt here. So that's just a note there. So that's $230,250.39. You see another one there, Mayor, for polar imaging, and that's in the amount of $46,000. This is related to the city's digitization of our records project, and this commenced way back in 2018. So this invoice should see the completion of digitizing all planning documents and appropriately storing them so that they're better able to be retrieved and easier access and retention. Also, you'll notice a number of legal invoices that are related to ongoing appeals and arbitration support are also noted for approval. And there's an invoice there for MVT for $48,231.69. And this is for the city's paratransit and GO bus services for the month of November. And again, a note here that the city supported almost 1,400 rides for the residents for this amount. Again, $48,231.69. And with that said, Worship, I'll move that the amounts be accepted as presented.
It is moved by Councillor Locke, and thank you, and seconded by Deputy Mayor Cotty. Thank you. Any questions, Council? I mean, we're only into like the first 2 weeks. We're already spent 800,000. No wonder we have such a large budget, and that doesn't include payroll. And I think Councillor Locke, you touched on some of the the important things that we have to spend on behind the scenes, like the support of our computer equipment through annual maintenance, or the buying of salt, which is so basic to ensuring the safety of our residents and our businesses here in the city.
Indeed. And I could have touched on others, the regional services that we have there, our tipping fees, for example, our Metro bus. I mean, so you're right. It's not hard to spend $800,000 when you look at the range of services and other things that we provide here in the city of Mount Pearl.
Councillor Rice has a question.
Yes, thank you, Worship. No, just just looking at the and I agree 100%. I mean, the prices are that we pay out for for the services in the city, and it goes from snow clearing to salt supplies to bus service and so on and so forth, tipping fees and everything. The costs are so expensive, and with the increase in inflation and the increased costs of diesel fuels and operation costs for even for the city of Mount Pearl, just bringing garbage back and forth to the down to the east end, down to Robin Hood Bay. I mean, the cost of fuel and everything is increasing. And then I look at the costs of our bus services, for Metro Bus and for our transit service that Councillor Locke just mentioned. It's not cheap, so it's expensive services to pay for. And I just wanted to to remind everybody of this is where our budget money goes to. When we sit down at the end of the year and we look at the operating budget for the city, is no trouble to know where the money goes when you're talking over $800,000 for the first month of the year. So I just want to make that point of interest there for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further comments before I call the vote for the motion on the floor? All in favor? And those opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. The second item for us is the payment register. And this is for the period of December the 8th of 2022 up to January the 4th of 2023. And the total amount here is $2,530,087.80. And again, you can see everything listed there. And if there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer any questions that council may have.
No hands up, but the door is always open to those questions, of course, for anybody, whether it's here at this table or for the public. Okay.
All right. The third one for our committee, Mayor, is management and council remuneration. Our committee is recommending a 2% remuneration increase for management. That's our non-bargaining unit employees, and council effective December 22nd, 2022. And this to be retroactive to July 1st of 2022. And as a part of the budget process, council considered the appropriate cost of living increase, again, for our non-bargaining employees, which includes council remuneration. Just to note, Mayor, that non-bargaining wages have been frozen since budget of 2021. And as Councillor Rice just alluded to, the rising cost of living, it's important to ensure that wages reflect, the current environment. And it was determined that a 2% cost of living increase was appropriate. And this is reflected in the 2023 budget and will be retro, as I said, to July 1st of 2022. This coincides with union wage increases, which were determined in the collective bargaining process of last year. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Locke, and thank you, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley. Any questions or thoughts, folks? I think this is in keeping with past practice, and I think you're quite, your point is well made about coming out of basically a wage freeze, and in a very difficult environment from a CPI point of view and the pressure on wages. But of course, we also have pressure on taxation and expenditures. So I think 2% is a reasonable percentage increase. And, I'm glad you've tabled that here today. That was already built into our budget that we put forth there back in December. So I'll call the question if there's no other further comment. All in favor? And those opposed? Thank you. Back to you. Motion carried.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I'll turn it over now to Deputy Mayor for the last two remaining items for our committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Locke, and thank you, Your Worship. I have two remaining items for the Corporate Services and Public Works Committee tonight. The fourth here is in relation to a corporate service matter. The 23rd Veteran Services Recognition Book had the opportunity offered to organizations, groups, and governments and municipalities to offer an advertisement. So the Corporate Service and Public Works Committee recommends approving a quarter-page ad, black and white advertisement for the 23rd Veteran Service Book that's developed through the Canadian Legion Newfoundland Labrador Command. That will be a cost of $350. That's HST included. That'll go certainly to its members, an opportunity to reach out and do important reach out and outreach, and of course support for the Royal Canadian Legion. And I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Kiley. Thank you. Second by Councillor Locke. All in favor? And those opposed? Thank you. Motion carried.
That leads me to our last item on the agenda tonight, which is our Public Works status report. And I would say, anecdotally, looking at your window and looking at your streets, to our residents and my colleagues here living in Mount Pearl, certainly the work is ongoing. And so this is certainly an agenda, a committee to review. We review this all obviously in advance, but the best way to see what's going on in your city right now is just to look out your door and look at the incredible work that's been put forward for our first bit of snow for the season. Just a few things to highlight. We have two new vowel. The vowel or vowel? I would say Director Dollament. What am I saying there?
It's pronounced vowel.
Vowel. Okay.
It's like the little animal that's similar to a mouse, but it's a lot bigger.
Every day you learn something new. So there's two new vole blowers, two new trackless sidewalk machines, and an MEO vehicle that's been arrived and are being prepared for service. So we're adding that to our fleet, of course, and it couldn't come at a better time. We have individual prepaid bulk garbage collections that are ongoing right now for the season. We also have, of course, winter equipment maintenance and preparation that is ongoing. Happy to report, and certainly those who've taken advantage, all three outdoor ice rinks for Team Guju, Murley Drive, Tennis Court, and Montclair Avenue are prepared and ready for use. And of course, that's dependent on weather conditions, like days such as this is going to, but my understanding is there's some good work being done with those. I'm really excited to talk about water consumption tonight. At our last Corporate Service and Public Works Committee, myself and colleague Councillor Locke, along with the team there, we're happy to hear that our water consumption just passed from December 2022 was the second lowest in the month regarding usage since its recording in 1997. And that's an incredible feat. It just demonstrates not only the work that the city's doing regarding cost effectiveness, but also doing our environmental part around water conservation. So the total water consumption in 2022 actually decreased compared to 2021. Happy to report that as well. And the water consumption generally in the last, it's lowest from 7 out of the 8 years, with only an increase, I believe, was in 2021. So that means our annual water billing decreases, a decrease in 2021, and our water meeting and our water meeting readings are obviously underway. And right now in our kits, you can see a little water level indication. We have from 2009, 21, 22, and 23 mark there. And they're noted below. But some incredible, I just wanted to thank former colleagues and current colleagues that were a part of the efforts in former years to make water conservation an important aspect of our public works. Thanks to the team that continues to monitor that and certainly invest in that. And you know, I think it's something for both an education piece, a public works piece, and a communication piece to talk about this kind of endeavor and work. And I know we're in the middle of January and we don't really think about water conservation in our coldest months, but it is something that is has a great impact moving forward. And I think we have a lot to be thankful for and grateful for. And there's more work ongoing on that. So that is everything for our Public Works report. And just a note to everybody today from our team that's been on the roads, thank you very kindly. Thank you for your incredible work and ongoing work to keep our services at top notch. Thanks. And that's all for me.
Thank you. Councillor Antle has a question, I think.
Just a quick note there regarding bulk garbage. I know it's ongoing, but is there a specific day? It's on Mondays, I guess, right? Is there any way we can put on our Facebook page to let people know that it's still ongoing? Because I'm still getting quite a few calls asking about bulk garbage. And if we can share that, let people know that it is available and we can access it in some way.
I see Director Pittman writing that down now, perhaps, and Glender and Director Dalamont smiling. So
I'm sure we're all getting the same request, and maybe it'll be easier if we can just share it on Facebook that it is available. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well said. All right, thank you to that committee, and we're going to move back to you now, Councillor Antle, for the item there that's listed. I think it's Councillor Antle.
Yeah, I'm going to start off, and then I'll pass it over to Councillor Lane. You can hear me, right? The first one for us is is all good news. Our committee always has good news, and we have the Frosty Festival. Our MOU is ready for January 1st till December 31st, 2023. And I'm sure you can see all over the media and all over Facebook now at Facebook that the Frosty Festival starts February 8th. February 8th is a very important day in the city of Mount Pearl for many, many reasons, but this is the Frosty Festival. And the committee recommends approval to execute an MOU between the City of Mount Pearl and Frosty Fest for the period of 1 year from January 1st to December 31st, 2023, which includes the provision of an annual operating subsidy in the amount of $45,000. I think that's a great thing for the city to do, where all our residents look forward to this. It's a good time to get out and enjoy, and it's money well spent. And I don't know if there's any motion on that, Your Worship.
Yes. Yeah.
And I so move.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Antle and seconded by Councillor Lane. The launch is this coming 2 days from now, Thursday at the Reed Center, and it's nice to see the festival back with us once again. And a big shout out to Wanda Tiller, and all the volunteers. She's the chair of this year's festival. Nice to see it back, but it wouldn't happen without the volunteers. And I do note that the festival committee has a call for additional volunteers. So if anybody that we all shared it, but just in case, if there's any other volunteers out there interested in a gig, so to speak, a volunteer gig that is, for about 5 to 10 days in February, it's you'll have some fun. You'll get into all the events, not all the events. You may get into many of the events for free. Just saying. I'm trying to incentivize it here. Any questions, Council? Okay, all right. Let's call for a motion for that approval, and I so call. And those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? And that's it. Thank you very much. I think that's the end of the agenda, is it not?
Unless, I don't know if Councillor Lane wanted to talk on this or not, Your Worship.
Sure.
Yeah. No, as long as I can remember, I've been attending the Frosty events. And there's so many great times for all of the residents. So I'm excited to see this happening. Of course, COVID did put a damper on the events that we were having. But Frosty is totally volunteer based. And as you said, Mayor, they are looking for volunteers. It's a great group to be a part of. And it just makes it more exciting actually being a part of putting off the events. So if anyone has an interest, of course, please do contact the Frosty Committee. And I'm very much looking forward to the events this year.
Well said. Thank you very much. Winter's upon us. You can see it outdoors as you look. City Hall was closed today, folks, so that's why we're doing this meeting now by Zoom. And let's proceed with the roundtable, and I'm going to call upon Deputy Mayor Kiley to be first.
Take myself off mute. Thank you, Your Worship. Just a few items for me today. Again, in relation to the weather, I happened to go for a couple of walks before it got too messy out there. What I was really, that's something that came to really grateful for me to see is a lot of neighbors going out, not only shoveling their own work and sidewalk, but certainly doing neighbors. I think it's a good opportunity to talk about sometimes the mental and also physical impact of snow shoveling, that all parts of our lives, the ability to be able to do that in a way that's safe and that is capable is hard. So thank you to residents that took it upon themselves to help out a resident, a neighbor or senior within your area. And I think that's just something in which we do quite organically, but I wanted just to focus on that a little bit today, that in winter months and winter conditions, it's easy to kind of bunker down and kind of keep forward and moving out, and we're less out and about. But it's a great time to still check on your neighbors. I talked a little bit about that probably before the holidays around the Christmas season, but January and February can be really difficult snow-wise and that sort of thing. So just being cognizant of that. And similarly, while I was out for the walk, it was good to see not a lot of people out in their cars. And I think a lot of what happened there was some good planning with organizations and our city about keeping people off. But in the fact that you are having to go out there, traffic and speeding, and knowing that there's still young people, families, individuals with all sorts of abilities trying to walk out and about. Just be extra careful, extra safe. Know that not everyone may have their tires on. Not all streets may be perfectly plowed and or salted, or just weather conditions. It could just take a couple of temperature drops, and then all of a sudden, what was a bit of water becomes quite a slippery road. So just caution and safety to all of our residents. And thank you to those that were helping out and about, and know that those that are in need, there's a lot of service organizations in the city that do that sort of work. Always know that you could reach out if you're looking for supports or services around that. And happy to navigate around that as well. So that's all for me, just around the winter preparation and also support for our fellow residents. Thanks very much for taking the time.
Thank you. And I guess what we have in store for most of us tonight is hours of shoveling.
Yes.
And, we look forward to Director Dollamont, Deputy Mayor, mentioned that he'll have the city all cleaned up by tomorrow morning or evening. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's well at hand. Thank you very much. Councillor Antle.
I'll keep it nice and quick, as the Deputy Mayor did. The first thing is, you might have noticed on our Facebook page, the summit has changed their hours, mostly on the weekend. You might want to take a look at it. It's we moved to 8 a.m. both on Saturday and Sunday. It's only a small change, but if you want to see any more, just go on the Summit Center and you can find that. You can also check your mailbox. It's 2023, and you should all have it now. Our recycling and garbage guide. Keep that handy because you'll always be looking for it, and it's on our website too. I think we all shared it, so it's easy to find. The other thing is just a quick question, and maybe we can answer it here. The lights on St. David's Field, when will they be going off? I should have asked that earlier on, and that was
I think we got Director Dollamont in the queue for that answer.
I'll have to confirm the exact date. I'll have to get back to you on that one for sure.
Yeah, so can we please advise the residents somehow when those are going to go off? I got a question. I thought it was Old Christmas Day, but I think they're still up. So if we can advise that, I certainly appreciate it. And that's everything from me, Your Worship.
Well, thank you very much. On to you, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just typing there actually for Councillor Antle. We have Frosty's Festival coming up, so it might be, you know, you never know. It might be a good idea to leave some of them lights up. Just a little point of information there, right? So I got a couple of things to comment on, 4 or 5 actually, but they're only brief. Just want to say we attended Breakfast with Santa on December the 18th. Council members went to that event. It was a huge event at the Reed Centre. Great event, great time. Kids had a wonderful time, and so did all the adults as well. Great time. Also, December the 31st, first night celebration, family skate at the Glacier was a phenomenal hit. I had a lot of people that I knew when I was up there on the ice for a skate, and they said what a phenomenal time to, you know, just to put that in there and have. And they had Kids of Rock there playing as well, some music. So they did a phenomenal job, and hats off to all the event organizers who put that off. I think Jason, Rosie, whoever was involved, and all the Glacier staff. Great job. Also, there's a few posts up now coming from Frosty Festival, because Councillor Rental and Councillor Lane mentioned that they're looking for over 500 volunteers. I read the information on that today, and I could not believe that it takes over 500 people, volunteers, helping out to run the festival. So that'll give you an indication of how big an event the Frosty Festival is, and that runs from December, February the 8th to the 14th, and also if you you know, you can go in on the link there and you can see what actually, because first when the events came out, and there were only 7 or 8 events regarding, but if you really look through the Frosty Festival website, it outlines all the events, and it's quite the amount of events.
Yeah, it might be shorter time frame, Councillor, but there certainly is a lot going on in a small space.
There's a lot happening. Yeah. When I looked at the events, like each day, like it runs from like 9 to 10 a.m. right till like 10 o'clock in the night. So it's going to be a busy week for all of us. I'm hoping to attend every event, taking that week off, hopefully. 2 other things I got is I just want to say a shout out to Mount Pearl Men's Rec Hockey League, because they donated $1,550, a one-shot. So this was just a one-shot thing they did on one night. They said that they're going to raise, the money will be going to needy families. So anyway, what they done is they sponsored 7 families that got that $1,550. So I want to say a thank you to them for that. And a shout out also to Zach Dean, Mount Pearl Zach Dean, for winning the gold medal at the Canadian Junior Hockey Championships, or World Juniors, in Halifax and Moncton over Christmas. A great accomplishment for Zach Dean. Hoping to have some more, I guess, info and some more conversation on if there's something we can do. You know, just have a conversation of what we can recognize them, or we can. You know, the conversation I'd like to have. So thank you, Your Worship. That's it for me.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to move around the table as we see it in the chamber, and the next in line would be Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Your Worship. So very exciting that our community skating rinks are now back open for the winter. So we have 3 locations, which are Team Guju Sports Complex, Merle Drive, and Montclair Street. So there's a couple things that I think that residents need to keep in mind that maybe some people don't realize. So we do have set times where you can play hockey on the ice, and I know a lot of people really enjoy that. But the times are as follows: it's from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., 12 to 1, and 3 to 4 p.m. So it's very important to keep in mind about sharing the ice. So to try to keep within the designated times for hockey, as there's many other residents who would like to enjoy going for a skate. So people could just keep in mind the designated times for hockey, and try to abide by that as best as possible so that everybody can enjoy the ice rinks for this winter. And I just had one other thing. I just want to congratulate the Mount Pearl Paradise Open Starlight Synchronized Skating Team on becoming the 2023 Atlantic Canadian Champions. So huge congratulations to them. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going to Councillor Fry next, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of things for me. As I was hearing everybody talk about the Frosty Festival, it made me really think about it and how big it is and how lucky we are to have this in our little city. We're so fortunate to have the community involvement and participation from the residents as well. And I know most everything has been said already, but I just wanted to let people know that tickets for the ticketed events will be going on sale on January 14th. So for anybody who's interested, have a look at the frostyfestival.ca website, and then they can start getting their tickets on January 14th. The other thing I wanted to mention was the New Year's Eve. Forgive me, my voice. I'm just recovering from an illness. New Year's Eve, the free skate and swim that we had was so well attended, and it was so nice to see everybody, and just the energy alone. I mean, it felt like New Year's Eve, that energy. And I think this is a great thing to do. I'm so proud that we do this, and I'm so glad that residents are engaged and participate. And I was also going to bring up about the community skating rinks, but I know Councillor Lane already covered that. I was speaking with a resident regarding concerns of hockey being played there. So perhaps we can maybe do something on social media, Director Pittman, just to reiterate that, because it is a concern. People are excited to get out and use these. And finally, for me, the Masonic Breakfast Club will take place next Tuesday, January 17th at 9 a.m. The menu looks amazing, and it's $8 per person. If anybody's interested, it's at Masonic next Tuesday morning. And that's it for me, Your Worship.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm going to now move to Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. Many of mine have already been covered, so I won't replicate. Councillor Lane did mention the outdoor ice rinks. I did get a chance to visit those over the Christmas break, and they were just like a sheet of glass. And I just thought back to my younger days skating up on George's Pond on the top of Kenmount Hill there. I would have loved to have had these outdoor skating rinks there. So great job by the staff. They were mint. They were absolutely fantastic for skating. I don't know. I know Councillor Antle mentioned about the hockey times, and do we not have signage up? Are we going to put signs up to let people know? We should have a little sign at the rinks if they're not already there. I didn't notice when I was going around.
Director Dalman can probably add to that if you.
Oh, sure.
Because I do believe there was signage put up, but I can't comment on the details.
Yes, I know we had to get signage made up. I'd have to confirm for sure if that was installed. I know we did have the signage put up for the use of helmets, but I'd have to confirm again on the hours of intent.
Great. Thank you, because that'll be helpful, because not everyone is following the social media posts. So to have it on site would be helpful. I know Councillor Rice mentioned Zach Dean. I was so delighted to hear the City of Mount Pearl mentioned so many times on international coverage during the hockey tournament, and it was a nail biter, as it often is, but it was great to see Mount Pearl represented so well there. And I know this is an annual thing, but I will mention, only because it was in the Telegram, the media, on 2 different occasions. That's about fireworks again. I know we have regulations, we posted them. I know all of council, my council colleagues shared them. The city put it out, but there's still concerns about people firing off fireworks unsafely. So I did want to bring it up here in the chamber, virtual chamber today, to let folks know that we have investigated this, we have researched this. It's hard to manage unless it's done from a provincial level. I think my personal view is, unless the province is willing to regulate the sale of these fireworks and require them to do training, because it's too difficult. I know I think it was Councillor Lane reached out to one of the residents and said, by the time the fireworks go off and we contact our MEOs and get there, the fireworks are over. So it's very difficult to police and to regulate unless you're caught, red-handed lighting the fuse. It's very hard to regulate these. So I just wanted to mention it publicly because it comes up every year, the concern of this. And this gentleman in today's paper mentioned that someone shot him horizontally down his road and it impacted his house and his car, and it's a danger. But I want to again state it publicly. We're not turning a blind eye to this, or we're not sat on our hands here. It's just something that has to come. If there's got to be a greater regulation, in my opinion, if we wish to control these. But that's it for me, Your Worship. I thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, I've got just two things, but I wanted to ask Director Dollamont, like we're focused tonight on snow clearing. I think we have the shifts all called back. We're focused primarily on residential streets as well as the streets in our business district. So typically on a storm that ends now around supper time, Director, what about our facilities, like City Hall, the parking lot, the Admiralty House, the Glacier, and other city-owned parking lots? Where does that fit into the mix here as we navigate post-storm?
So a great question. Thank you. So during a storm event, and if the city facilities are open, we treat that as a route as we do with city streets. So we'd always have a piece of equipment on the facility lots to maintain, being able for patrons to get in and out of the parking lot safely. So today where the facilities that were closed, like later this evening, we'll put in equipment and clean up all those lots and salt them, and in preparation for first thing tomorrow morning, and they'll be in good shape as business as usual for early tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I guess it'll take the rest of the day and the night to get the city to the promised land, so to speak. Sometime, I'm sure tomorrow we'll see a huge difference. We'll see a lot of blacktop thanks to the plowing and the salting of our great crews. The final comment I wanted to make, Council, is that we brought down a budget, only 3 weeks ago. It was a hard budget, and I think one of the themes that may be missed here is that we certainly did our best to reduce costs, and I'm on record as saying on your behalf, we kept and limited our operating costs to 3.5%. But one of the decisions that we made was as it relates to the Mount Pearl Sport Lines, and as part of that decision-making process in the budget, we've limited the funding going forward. But I just wanted to assure the sporting community and the general public that Council continues to remain very supportive of the Sport Alliance. And in fact, we're meeting with them as we navigate to the future. And you could see a changing role with the city in terms of how events we get put off, like the Hall of Fame ceremony and that. But we want to embrace all the volunteers that work with the Sport Alliance and give up their free time. They've done just as good a job. And you may see this year more integration between those events and some of the Sport Alliance's activities as it relates to the operations of the Sport Alliance. But I just wanted to make the statement. I think, in fairness, we are not, we like the Mount Pearl Sport Alliance. We know it does a great job speaking and resourcing on behalf of the groups, the sporting groups in Mount Pearl. And that's first and foremost with Council and with our staffs to make sure, frankly, that the kids are looked after. And from here, we may see some slight changes in how we resource the administrative component, but in no way, shape, or form is Council in a budget decision want to see the Sport Alliance, change in any fundamental way. It's incumbent on us, where we represent the taxpayer, to ensure that we spend our money as thrifty as possible. And frankly, I think this Council's prepared to invest in activities, especially long-term activities that have built this city. But from time to time, we have to pause to ensure that we're spending that taxpayer money wisely. And I think Council did a very admirable job, back in November, December to get us there, right? So one of the decisions coming out, yes, is to change the way it's resourced, but only the administrative component, and there will be no impact on the grants that are paid to any of the sports here in the city of Mount Pearl. And we look forward to working with all the groups and the Sport Alliance as reconstituted going forward. So I just wanted to offer that comment to my colleagues and invite any of you if you'd like to respond to what I just said. Hearing none, I thank you very much. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry about that, Your Worship. I just looked at some chats. Yeah, I think, with the Sports Alliance moving forward, we had a great conversation on that. In no way are we taking any money away from the sports community. We're going to take more. I think council and the city are going to take more of a hands-on approach. We've been talking more and more with the sports lines. I want to reiterate, because sometimes you hear in the community that we're taking money away. In no way are we taking any money away from any sports groups, and we'll be more of a hands-on, I think, moving forward. And that's all I want to say, Your Worship.
Yeah, very good. Anybody else? I'm sure we'll have future discussions. I'm going to call now for a motion to adjourn. I want to say again, Happy New Year. Thank you to the UTM crews who save us lots of money on the water consumption, and thank you to our snow clearing crews as we end this meeting for the job that they've done tonight. So on a motion of Councillor Lane, seconded by Councillor Antle, we are adjourned. So we'll see you all for Committee of the Whole in an hour. Is that enough time for supper? Or do you want less? Do you want more?
Half hour.
Okay, do I hear 30? Anybody else okay with 30? Thumbs up. Thumbs and fingers. Deputy Mayor Kiley has it covered. Okay, so it's 5:40. How about we reconvene for Committee of the Whole at 6:10? See y'all soon. Good night.